Hi guys! So today I'm officially switching over from my 2020 weeks to my 2021 weeks, and I thought that it would be a good opportunity to go through all of the weeks that I've had since I first started using one back at the end of 2015. So as you can see, I have before me the evolution of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and into my 6th weeks. And so I'm just going to go through one by one and show you how my planning style in them has changed since I first started using them. So I began using a weeks in the end of 2015, like I said, as a personal planner, and I have continued to use them as a personal planner ever since. So basically what motivated me to start using a weeks is that I had been using a personal planner as opposed to a work planner for about maybe 8 or 9 months, and I had been experimenting with different types of planners. So I first started off using a ring planner, personal sized, and I realized that I didn't really like ring planners. That wasn't kind of for me. And then I switched into a Moleskine week on one page with notes, which is basically the same layout as the week. So on the left hand side you have a horizontal weekly spread, and then on the right hand side you have notes pages. And I liked that better because it was a bound book, but I felt like it somehow didn't quite work for me. I think partly because it had a shared weekend, and there were just like some other reasons why I wasn't really keen on it. It was too big for one thing. And so then I decided to try a weeks, and that just was perfect, and that became my ideal personal planner. So as you can see, when I started off using this weeks, I was just using ink and highlighters. I think that these were mild liners, and then I switched over to using colored pencils, like neon colored pencils, because I started trying to cut out plastic, and particularly disposable plastic. And so I would just highlight or cross off the months that had gone by. And I was using this for tracking mostly medicine. And then I was using the monthly for a whole bunch of different things. I started off using it as a spending tracker, and I would just highlight things in different colors in kind of random order. There was no color coding going on, I don't think, at least not consistently. I think actually here I was using, there was color coding going on, I've forgotten what it was, but the yellow was for exercise, so I was doing exercise tracking. The purple was spending, so I was doing spending tracking as well. And I think that the pink was for videos that I made. So I was doing everything, I was keeping track of everything in here that wasn't work, basically. And then I was tracking orders at the bottom, and that's actually something that I've stuck with until the present day. Then it seemed like I stopped using this as a tracker, and instead I started using it as a meal tracker. And I did a little bit of experimenting with colors and some stickers here, but that didn't, you know, like coloring in some empty daily pages, which didn't really stick. Here I was using this as a kind of vision list, and I was using a really fine fountain pen at this point, the Pilot Metropolitan Capless or Vanishing Point. So that worked really well for these small boxes. So I was doing, yeah, food tracking in here, and then still orders. And then I kind of fell out with the food tracking. As you can see, I'm not great at doing food tracking, and that's been something that's consistent. I have never been able to do very well with food tracking. Lots of order tracking, vision lists, that kept up for a while. This was now turned into gratitude, and then it turned into tracking my bank balance. And that's the end of the monthlies because I switched into the 2017 weeks at that point. So these are what the weekly spreads look like. So I was using the left hand side for appointments and like kind of time-based tasks, and then I was using the right hand side for to-dos by day. So I divided them by day. I just put a line here, divided them by day, and at this point I started off using a friction pen. And then I switched over to the fountain pen at some point here. So what I would do is I would highlight everything that was done in a different color so that by the end of the week it would look really colorful and nice, and anything that I still needed to do would stand out because it was unmarked. It was like unhighlighted. And I kept it up like that for quite a while. Then I think what I did was I switched over from dividing these by day to just making like 2 long to-do lists for the week, so that this would be like kind of things that were specific to the day, and this would be just my to-dos for the week. And I kept that up for quite a while. At this point I switched over to using the pencils, the colored pencils. And then I switched to pencil because right around here was when I decided to try to give up plastic. And then I found the pencil was just kind of depressing. And this was around the time when my dog Panda passed away, and it was just a really bad time. I was very, very low. And someone in a comment said, you need color. I'd made a video of this and someone said, it needs color, woman. I was like, thank you, you're right. So I brought back the color. And I switched over to using fountain pen and then the colored pencils to highlight when things were completed. I experimented here with using stickers because I felt like I needed something to brighten it up. And that didn't really work out. I just didn't use stickers. But then I started experimenting, trying to like make some designs. I felt like there was something that was bugging me. There was like something that was no good about this, that was displeasing me. And what I finally worked out was that I thought that I needed to start writing in all caps. And I started writing in all caps, and then that instantly made things better. So yeah, I abandoned writing in lowercase, and then the all caps was just like, that worked really nicely. And I again started dividing this up by day, and I started putting a little bit of decoration on the side, and I started doing habit tracking here. So then I started a new experiment, which was to divide this left-hand side of the page into 3, which you can do because it has these little almost invisible dots here. And so I did that, and I thought on the left I will put in time-specific things, in the middle I will put in spending tracking, and on the right I'll do meal planning. Meal planning is something that I have never been good at either, even worse than meal tracking. So that didn't really stay. Then I tried to do it again. My idea was that I would basically put like everything that I had been putting in various different planners, I would put in here. So I'd had, I think, an expenses tracker at this point, and I'd possibly been using something else for meal planning. And I decided just to put everything in here and like kind of test the limits of the weeks. This was kind of in the run up to One Book July. I was sort of feeling like I, really wanted to put everything in my one planner, well, 2 planners, my personal planner and my work planner. And then I started experimenting with coloring in. This was with the Faber-Castell artist pens. I was just like kind of decorating this to make it look more colorful. I'd stopped using the highlighting because I felt like I didn't want to carry it around, I think. And I was so trying to put in appointments, gratitude, and expense tracking, and then on here to do. So it was really packed, and the weeks actually can like handle that. Like, look at all of this. This was everything for all of these many weeks. I managed to do that. And it did kind of work out. It's just that at some point I kind of trailed off. I did do it for a few months though. That's until September, and then at some point I stopped. And here I went back to just using it. I kind of like, I took out the gratitude. I think I wasn't putting the gratitude in here anymore, and then it just went back to what it had been at the beginning of the year, which was time-based appointments and to-dos, and then just random to-dos. I mean, like, to-dos. I started here putting them by day again, so I just made these like kind of little minimal marks to show where each day finished, and then I would kind of do them by day so that it was a bit more spread out over the course of the week. And here it was just pen, so you can see like I'd stopped with the with all of the different colors, no more highlighters. It was just very, very simple. And then here I this was where I stopped and switched over to the 2017 version. So it was a little bit of a mess, but it was very functional. And the notes pages, so this is a standard weeks. This was before they'd come out with the mega weeks, and I used this for all kinds of things. So I used it for notes about planner videos. A lot of it was planner video lists. Then, like, you know, just kind of random notes, and I divided it by topic. So I'd set aside a number of pages. So here I had planner video ideas, planner video notes, cinema, films and TV, stuff to buy, and then general notes. So I realized at the end of the year that I wasn't super happy with this system, because I ended up with a lot of blank pages, like not a lot, but some blank pages throughout the planner between sections. And I kind of felt like it was a bit, I don't know, it was a bit bitty and annoying, and I wanted it to like look nicer when I flipped through it. So that was 2016. You can see, because I didn't really use stickers except for like a couple of times as an experiment, it's very compact. That's just what it looked like. It was basically just pen and paper. And I really liked this color. I guess this was the first weeks that I bought, and I just liked the sort of like, you know, plain blue and white. But then for the next year, 2017, I kind of went in the other direction, and that was because I had been expecting to buy one of the plain colors line, but when they came out there were no colors or color combinations that I liked, and so I ended up going for this, which is Sébastien Masouda. I think it's called Daydream, and I just really liked the colorful pastel sort of very wacky, you know, this like, you know, collage type realia setup that he had going on here. And I also liked how it was embossed in this foil blue. So yeah, I like the look of it. And this is a hardback, but it's like kind of one of their sort of glossy hardbacks. So here I decided to like decorate it a little bit more. This is from Happy Scrappy, and this is a positivity to-do list, and this was a note from James. And I took this to PlannerCon Europe in 2017, and Hobonichi was there. They had a stall, and so I got this Hobonichi stamp. It was very exciting, and some Hobonichi washi tape. And I was using this, the first half of the year I used it as a bank balance tracker, and then I used it as a medicine tracker. I was still, as you can see, using the monthly in pretty much the same way for expenses and order tracking. And then I started using it as a kind of vision board again. Also using, for most of the year until August, I was using that very fine Pilot Metropolitan. And then I switched over. And at some point around here, I started using this for tracking things that went on in the flat, like when we changed the bin and changing the sheets and stuff like that. And I've actually been using it like that ever since. And then like dogs, worm medicine and flea medicine. So I started off the year looking pretty much the same as how I'd finished 2016, just with pen and timed appointments here, to-dos here, roughly organized by day, but I wasn't marking the days anymore. I would just see where the line was and, you know, kind of transfer it over. Down here I would use this for shopping lists. This was actually something I forgot to mention in the 2016 week. Something that I loved in this week's was that it only had the quote on one side of the page, and the other side of the page had these 3 lines where you could put extra notes, and I really, really liked that. And then they got rid of it in 2017. They took that space with the lines away, and they spread the quotes over 2 pages, which was kind of a disappointment for me, but it wasn't a huge thing because you can adapt to using the blank space without the lines. There's still quite a bit of blank space at the bottom. So I was using it in pretty much the same way, just pen and paper. And then around halfway through the year, this year, I was using a pretty planner, which it was a Leuchtturm A5, and I was like kind of using it just as a sticker-rated planner that was like a weekly overview. And I started to feel like there was too much overlap, and I always like to have like a very distinct use for each of my planners, so I don't like there to be any overlap or any redundancy. And I started feeling like either I have to use the pretty planner as my personal planner, or I just have to get rid of it. And I didn't want to get rid of it because I'd put all this effort into decorating it. And so instead I stopped using the weeks. And so you can see here there were a few weeks where it was blank, or I tried like using it for gratitude and that didn't really stick. And then I decided to use it for just random notes, basically. I decided to use it not for anything in particular, but just like this would be the planner that would be there. I would just carry it around with me, and if I needed to make a random note because I wasn't near one of my other planners, that's what I would use it for, or a shopping list, spending tracking. And very quickly it somehow reverted back to being my personal planner after a few weeks. So the attempt to break away from the weeks did not work very well, which was quite funny. And so then I switched pens, so I was now using this thicker pen, which I quite enjoyed. It was very satisfying, but it was a bit messy, so I started to get like a lot of ink blobs and I wasn't really happy with how messy it looked. So I experimented with putting stickers in it just to see how that would look. And I thought, like, since this is October, I'm getting near to the end, so I thought like, well, I'll put a few stickers in it and then just see what it looks like. And then I started coloring it in again. This was some kind of a sort of an attempt to make it look nicer. I felt like, okay, it's my personal planner and I want it to be functional, but that doesn't mean that it has to be ugly, I guess. You know, I can still sort of make it look prettier than it has been. And so I sort of tried that out, but not really. And then I made a decision. I decided that when I switched over to my 2018 planner, that I would make it look really pretty and that I would stickerate it. So what was I using the note pages for here? So this time I decided just to use the note pages. I did actually this year. I still kept the same kind of system where I was kind of dividing things. So I'd allocated 6 pages for YouTube stuff, and then I had a couple of pages about TV and films to watch, and then I think I started just making kind of random lists, notes about planners. It was pretty messy. Inks I have, so I was still keeping all of my planner stuff in here, so there was a lot of like planner notes, and then I still had some blank pages in the middle of the book. Because I kind of divided it like that. So a big change came when I switched over from 2017 to 2018. And now this is another one of these like kind of shiny hardcover type weeks, like this one. It's the Magic Hunt map from the Mother 2 series, and I was really torn this year trying to decide between the Magic Hunt map and the Bow and Tie Coffee Beans weeks. And I decided to go for this one because James also wanted to try a weeks, and we thought it would be cool to have the same one, and he was going to have this one as well. And then he ended up losing his. So I soldiered on bravely for the whole year with this one, and I always kind of regret that I didn't try the Coffee Bean weeks, but I do like this one as well. I really like green and purple, and I like the Mother 2 covers, and I think that this was a really cool design, so it's okay. But the Coffee Bean weeks is the one that I kind of also really miss. So this is 2018. You can see a big difference here because I just decided to make this look beautiful, and this was the first time that I had a word for the year. So my word for the year was enjoy, because I thought I've been just working like for, I don't know, the last 15 years and not really kind of concentrating on trying to enjoy life, and so I thought I'm going to do that this year. And so I started blocking off the months that had gone by with a heart sticker, and I was using this for medicine tracking, and I decided to use different color fountain pen inks along with stickers to make it fun. So I used this for tracking things like exercise and flea medicine, worm medicine, all that kind of stuff, as well as orders, online orders. And occasionally I did something like bank balance tracking. But yeah, it was basically like when I take in my vitamins, that kind of thing. And here I put in some like vision. I guess I must have not had a fixed place for vision at that point. And you can see like I kind of wanted to, like, you know, kind of lightly decorate it so that the whole thing looked happy. And I felt like this was just much happier. I enjoyed it a lot more than I enjoyed these 2 previous years, which were very functional but not fun. So yeah, I thought I will put the fun back in functional. And I think that worked. And then I just stickerated these last few spreads, which I didn't use because that was after I'd switched over to the next year's weeks. And So this is what the weekly spreads look like. I basically use them in the same way. I would use this for mostly to-dos that were time specific, and this for to-dos that could happen anytime during the week. So at this point I had started putting all of my timed events in my cousin so that I would always only have to look in one place to see timed events. So appointments, like anything. So my cousin is my work planner, but I decided to put any kind of events in my cousin, whether they were work related or not, so that I would always know what was going on and wouldn't have to look in two planners to see when things were happening. Because in here I was putting all of my personal events, which is generally not that many, because I don't really do a lot outside of work, but I would put all of my personal events in here and my work events in my work planner, and I decided that it made more sense just to have everything timed in the one planner. So this is basically just to-dos that I wanted to do on a specific day, and this is to-dos that could happen anytime during the week. And so I think that the mix of the stickers and the different colored ink just made it really happy. And I actually now like really enjoy looking back on this much more than I did the previous 2 years, which kind of looked a bit, I don't really like how they looked as much. So yeah, that's just how I use this. And then on weeks when I didn't use it a lot, I just colored, I put in stickers retroactively so that it would look pretty, and I just kept switching ink colors. Whenever the ink ran out, I would switch to a different color, and this is actually something that I have retained in my other planners. I do this a lot. I'll like kind of go through in rainbow order, so that, you know, that it kind of looks like a rainbow when you like flip through the whole planner. And the stickers were mostly decorative. Occasionally there was something functional like movie night, but usually I would just put in like these little stickers from the tiny sticker book from the Happy Planner tiny sticker book when I wanted it to look colorful. And then obviously I would use the alphabet stickers as well to, you know, mark off things, and that's just basically how it went for the whole year. So I was really happy with this. I liked it a lot. But towards the end of the year I decided, for some reason I thought that it would be fun to try to doodle instead of using stickers, and so I did a little experiment to see what it would look like if I just kind of made doodles that were similar to the stickers. This was on a page that I wasn't going to use because it was after I would switch over to the next year. So I thought, okay, I'm going to skip the stickers, and instead I'm going to doodle and color them in. So this year the notes pages were much better. It worked out a lot better than it had in the previous 2 years, because I decided just to keep it as like a running like kind of bullet journal style, you know, like one page follows the next page basically, and not like leave aside specific amounts of pages for one specific topic, and that worked a lot better. And also with the stickers, obviously it was really nice. So here I had like kind of made this note about Eurovision. This was like all of this Eurovision 2018. I made this little spread, and this was really fun. And then I like kind of kept notes about all of the different the different competitors. And this was just like kind of random things. And so I used up pretty much all of the pages. I think all of the pages, and that worked a lot better. And so I really liked that. And then for my 100, I love this my 100 list, which I don't think that they had before that. I think this might have been the first year that they introduced it. And I really liked it because it's like a nice place where you can just easily access you know, this list. Yeah, they didn't have it until 2018. So I used this for like discount codes and websites I wanted to check, this for music and podcasts that I wanted to check, this for films, and this for TV shows. So that was just really nice, easy access. And then I decorated the back here. So yeah, this was, I guess the first year where I felt like my weeks was just in its groove, really satisfying. It was functional. I didn't have to worry about keeping it pretty because I was just writing in it. So I would just kind of come back and put stickers in afterwards, and that made it look nice, but it wasn't like I had to, you know, really be careful to keep it neat and looking beautiful or do coordinated things or anything, which I felt like would have been kind of too stressful for me using this as a personal planner. So that was really satisfying. And then I was excited to switch over for 2019 to a Mega Sneaker Weeks and to use it quite differently with the doodles. So the first year that the Mega Weeks came out was 2018, and I decided not to get one because I thought that if I put stickers in it, which I wanted to do, this is, I think, tea spilled on it at the top. I was just watching a video by Salty Katie, and she said, like, does anyone else spill coffee on their expensive Japanese stationery? Yes, me, all the time. Coffee and tea. So I thought that if I put stickers in a Mega Weeks, it would get too fat, because one of the things that is really attractive about the Weeks is how slim it is and how you can just, you know, put it in your bag and take it with you and it doesn't add a lot of bulk. So I thought putting stickers in the standard Weeks would be fine, but putting them in the Mega Weeks would be no good. And that was one of the things that motivated me to switch over to doodling instead of using stickers, because I thought that would keep down the bulk and that way I could have a Mega Weeks. And I wanted to try a Mega Weeks, and when they came out with the sneaker, this was the first year that they came out with the Sneaker Weeks, I was just really intrigued by it because I liked the idea of a nice chunky soft back. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try the Sneaker Weeks, and I'm just going to doodle in it, and that will be really fun because it will be a way of, like, you know, coloring and making things bright and happy, but I won't be adding any bulk. So I made this whole spread, and my word for the year was recharge. And I used this just to color in when I changed my fountain pen. And for this, I was using all black. I decided that it would be a nice contrast because I'll write the plans and do the doodles in black, and then I'll color them in with colored pencils. So I was using this the same way as I had kind of, you know, developed this routine in the previous couple of years, where I would use this for like vitamins, medicine, keeping this for online orders, which I had been doing pretty much since the beginning. And I was also noting expenses here in red, which I then stopped doing at some point, and each month I would make a doodle that was like related to that month. If there was a Jewish holiday like Purim in March, so I made that spread kind of be about Purim. If there wasn't one, then I would just do some doodles like cupcakes and stuff based on the Happy Planner stickers, that kind of design. And I kept using it like that, and I really had fun and I liked it, and it was like, you know, it was kind of pretty and colorful but also still functional. And this basically went until the end of the year. I kind of ran out of steam. This was the issue that I had with this colorful design. I really enjoyed it, and at the beginning of the year I was having so much fun, and looking back on it, it makes me remember like how much I liked it. It was really a lot of fun coloring in these first of all making the doodles and then coloring them in, and it just I think it really worked for me. I loved it, and even on weeks when I didn't use it a lot, I would, you know, still I could just like kind of color this in. This was a week when I went to visit a colleague in Pennsylvania, and so I just, you know, colored it in like really big so that it didn't look like it was too empty, but it somehow didn't bother me that much, it being empty, and each week I could experiment with a different design. And here I started journaling on the left hand side and just using this for to-dos, and I did that for a few weeks. I don't know, I think this was when I was like kind of starting experimenting with journaling. 2019, I already had my journal. I'd started using my A6 original Hobonichi as a journal, and so I think I was trying to just do like a little bit more journaling somehow in here, because I felt like I didn't need it as much for planning. And then I started doing tracking. I was sort of experimenting with various different things, which seemed fine. A couple of times I did a Hebrew spread. And then I think around August, September, I started feeling a bit overwhelmed by the doodling, like coloring it in, and it started to feel a bit hard. Like I'd started to feel like instead of being fun, that it started to become a burden. Like, oh, I have to do the doodling and I have to make it look nice. And it was just starting to get overwhelming. So you can see here, I started to be much more minimal, like compared to the beginning of the year when I was, you know, kind of really going quite all out with it. I just started to do like the minimum. So I was like, okay, I just need to do this and I'll do it as quickly as possible. And this is when I stopped, because I switched over to the new week. So I did keep it up for the whole year, but it became more and more of a struggle. So I decided that I didn't want to do it again the next year because it just had become too much work. And so what I decided to experiment with instead was trying to see if I could create the same effect just with pen. So I thought maybe instead of doing the coloring in, I can just do the doodles, and that will like kind of, you know, make it pretty enough, but it won't be too overwhelming. So I decided to do that. And the other reason that I wanted to have a Mega Weeks is because I thought that I could use this as a personal planner. Sorry, not a personal planner, a daily planner. So I'd had a separate daily planner before, and I thought, you know what I could do? I could use, because you get all of these notes pages with the Weeks Mega, so I could divide it in half, and I calculated that if I made one like spread per week, I could use this as a daily planner just for like kind of, you know, the to-dos, like the kind of daily to-dos that I have to do that aren't like one-offs, which would go in here. Like this is something that I wouldn't, these were things that I wouldn't do every day, but here were things that would be just like my daily, you know, kind of routine to-dos that sometimes I like to write down just to make sure I don't miss anything. And so that was what I was doing here. So again, I would like decorate this every week and make a spread. And at first I really enjoyed it, and then I just got sick of it. And so you can see that like by November, this was the last one I did. I was just like, I've had enough. I can't do this anymore. It's too much. And so I decided to basically use the same format the next year, but just cut out all of the coloring. And for the rest of it, I was using it kind of as a bullet journal. So like for things like wish list, routine, focus, and I did it kind of as I went. So I ended up with like maybe, I guess this was like 20, 25 pages blank at the end, but it was pretty good. I used pretty much the whole thing. So you can see that was very satisfying, and I loved the sneaker weeks, but so the next year I was planning to get a sneaker weeks again, but I didn't like the colors that they came out with. So I decided to go for a hardback Mega Weeks, and I thought that that would be kind of fun because I hadn't had a hardback week since my first year with the Weeks, 2016, and I liked these colors. So I like the combination of green and purple, and this was called apple green, but I imagined it as being more like tea green, and I thought that it's kind of like a green tea in a purple cup, which really pleased me. So for the beginning of 2020, I thought I'll kind of go like halfway between what these were, which were like kind of really colorful and decorated, and what these were, which was just like totally plain and, you know, very, very the opposite of decorated. So I put some vellum in. This was the first year that I started using vellum. I got really into it, and I decided that I'll make doodles and I just won't color them in, and I'll do them in different color ink so that, you know, the whole thing will look colorful and happy. And I picked my word for the year being rejuvenate. 2020, no comment. So I used these spreads for medicine tracking, and as usual I was using this for tracking things that happen in the flat, exercise, and then here for non-planner related online orders, because this year I started using a planner. So a planner like kind of dedicated to just my planning hobby. And for the weeklies, this is what they looked like at the beginning. So I was doing doodles, but just in pen and in the same color as the planning itself. And so at first I had fun with this, and then I kind of, like, see, I did this for a few months, and then I just kind of got sick of it again, and I couldn't face it. So at some point I stopped. Actually, I got pretty far. This was March. I think this was where I stopped. May. I just started writing in it like this, which is funny because this went back to exactly how I had been using the planner in, I guess not in 2016, but in 2017. where I was just, you know, kind of writing it like this, just like really plain. And I just felt like I just couldn't handle anything else. So I was at this point using all kinds of different planners, because I had like all kinds of different pretty planners, which I guess were satisfying my desire to, you know, decorate things. So I had my planner, which is colorful. I also started using a memory keeper, which was colorful and full of stickers. And I also had a AB Tangerine weekly planner, which I was just like completely dedicating to stickerating. So I felt like, you know, it just needs to be very simple, and it just needs to record the stuff that I need to record. So at some point I started using this, just using the left-hand side for exercise tracking and like health tracking, like how much I slept and stuff like that, and the right for just whatever. And again, like that was quite liberating, because it was just like a shopping list. I don't care. I'll just put, it's like kind of using it like as note pages. And when this happened, I kind of went off it. Like I started to not enjoy it as much. And I think that's because somehow for my work planner, which I'm sure most of you have seen, my work planner is really, really basic. It's just pencil. There's no color, there's no fun, but it works for me, and I love it. But somehow for my personal planner, I feel like it just needs to be a bit more fun. And if it's just like this, it looks ugly to me, and I just kind of stopped liking it. And that's what happened around here. I really went off of this. I just kind of didn't like it as much anymore. And it was like functional, but I just wasn't really enjoying it. And then what happened at some point is I ordered this one. And as soon as I ordered this one, I decided, you know what, I just want this to be fun again, and I want it to be pretty, and I want it to be full of stickers. And I'll explain about this in a minute. But I kind of felt a bit cheered up as soon as I knew that I was like soon going to be able to have fun with my personal planner again, because this was like, yeah, I just didn't enjoy it, and I really wanted it to be over. And at the same time, I decided that I actually kind of couldn't, I didn't want to have to set up these weekly spreads for the daily planner. I just couldn't face it anymore. I wanted it to like already be there. And this is one of the main things that is kind of an issue for me with bullet journaling, is that I'm not good at setting up my own spreads. I want them to be pre-printed. And even though this was not like a major job that I had to do, and in fact, at some point I stopped doing it, and I just wrote like, you know, one day to the next day, and I didn't even put the dates on anymore. I started switching over to use my B6 as a daily planner, and that's undated, but because it's a daily planner, I can just underline the date, because it, you know, it has that thing at the top where you can circle the date or underline it. So I just underline the date, and it's very quick, and I use it when I need it, and I don't use it when I don't need it. And I decided that I preferred having a separate daily planner rather than having it in my weeks. So I decided that for 2021, I wouldn't need a mega weeks anymore, and if I could go back to a standard weeks, that meant that I could use stickers again. So the whole thing kind of like worked together, I guess, to make me realize that I actually didn't want a mega weeks anymore, and instead it was more important to me to be able to make it look colorful and fun with stickers. So I had this like first half that was set aside for daily planning, and so I ended up with a lot of blank pages here, which bugged me. And then the second half was again used for like kind of bullet journaling, just, you know, random notes about things, and that was fine. But like I kind of felt again like I would prefer just to have that that section, and for that I would only like that bullet journal type list section, and for that I would be fine with a standard weeks, not a mega weeks. So basically I think that my favorite style of weeks planning was the one that I had in 2018, where it was just all happy and colorful and in a standard weeks. And even though I love the mega weeks and I love the sneaker weeks, I decided that actually it's probably not for me anymore. So I just recently set aside, yesterday in fact, archived my 2020 weeks. And so you see here, you see all 5 of them. And I really like looking at them together. It's very satisfying. So I've got my 3 standard weeks, and then I've got my 2 mega weeks. One is a sneaker and one is a hardcover. And then I went on to start using my 2021 weeks, which is again a standard weeks. It's a hardcover, but it's not the glossy type. It is kind of feels like canvas, and I have it in a Salty Katie jelly cover, and it's perfect because this is rugged enough that I can just use it on its own without being in a cover. And I've already stick rated it a lot. I don't think it will get much thicker than this because I've gone through and stick rated, you know, kind of a good chunk of it. I'll show you that in a minute. And I'm really, really happy with my decision to go with a standard week so that I could put stickers on it, because it's just instantly made me feel so happy, and I absolutely love it already. And I've been waiting to use this, and I've been setting it up over the last couple of months since it arrived. And I'm so excited that I can now start to use it. So I just put a sticky note here of something to remind myself before it started. Now, another reason that I am firmly in the standard weeks camp at the moment as opposed to the mega weeks camp is that the standard weeks comes in all of these different fun designs, whereas the mega weeks only come in the block color, like the solid color designs. And I've decided that for the foreseeable future, I just want to have like really fun, happy, colorful weeks, and I want to put stickers in them, and I think that that is the best way for me to function with my personal planner. And so that all says standard weeks because it's the right size, it won't get too chunky, and it has the fun cover options. So this is my word for the year, is calm. This is from Sweet Kawaii Design, true story, and these are all from the Happy Planner. This is also Sweet Kawaii Design. Hello, you're going to come in the video? Are we going to have a visit from Lady Pet Pet? She's not sure, she's just standing next to me, but she's not sure if she's going to come in the video or not. And this is a little bit tongue-in-cheek at this point after 2020, but here's hoping. So I just decided to like kind of make it happy and rainbetical everywhere. And I'm going to use this as I have developed the habit over the past few years of circling when I change my fountain pen ink. And I'm going to use this for medicine tracking. And I'm going to use this for non-planner related online orders and for tracking when we do things in the house, as I've done in the previous years. So I think most of this is pretty fixed now. Like after a few years of fine-tuning, I think I feel like, I guess since 2018, that use of the monthlies has been pretty fixed. And obviously I haven't put anything in yet because it just starts tomorrow. This is Sunday, but I put in a couple of notes yesterday on here because I don't usually use these side bars anymore, and so I couldn't wait until Monday, until tomorrow, to start using it. So I just switched over already. I switched over last night, in fact, and I've decided that from today it's official. So yeah, I've put in a little happy sticker every month, and I thought I'd keep it pretty minimal, but this is enough to make it look nice. And then I have another one of these full page stickers, and then this is what the weeklies look like. So I've pre-planned, and the big difference between this and 2018, which was the last time that I had this kind of sticker-rated spread, was that now I have added in Jewish calendar stickers, and these are from an Etsy shop that I discovered to my great delight, because it's one of the only places in the world that I've found that makes Jewish planner stickers with the Jewish calendar, and I'll leave her link down below. Her shop is called Hadassah Levine. She's London-based and she's fantastic. And this is because I work with the Jewish calendar a lot. I need to know when, what the date is on the Jewish calendar, and I also need to know what Shabbat times are. And so she makes these stickers that you can then fill in the Shabbat times for, and also you can have the Jewish calendar here in whatever your favorite planner happens to be. And so I thought if I put this in here, then at once it will be colorful, and I will also have my whole Jewish calendar set up for the year. And I really wanted to do that. So that's why, part of the reason why it's so chunky is I added all of those in for the whole year, which is great because I've never had that before. I've always had to have a separate insert with the Jewish calendar that I, have to check, or a wall calendar, and it's kind of a pain. So I'm really happy about this because I have this with me all the time. Then I put in some icon stickers like Payday and Recycling. These are the teeny weeny stickers, I think they're called, from Sweet Kawaii Design. I love them. And then I have some Happy Planner stickers, just, kind of for decoration. And then I am going to use more functional stickers as well, like laundry and game day, because on Shabbat we play games like D&D and solve crimes like Hunt a Killer. So this is this coming week, and then I made a shopping list, and then the week after that is Hanukkah, so I put on some Hanukkah stickers also from Hadassah Levine, and then I put on some to-dos for the week. So I'm basically going to use this essentially in pretty much the same way, I guess, that I've used the previous years, but it's just going to be more fun and colorful, and it also has the Jewish calendar stickers. And I've decorated all of that for the whole year, so it's kind of set up. So I don't really need to do much decorating, which means that I can use this as a totally functional planner, but it looks colorful as well, and that makes me really happy. So later on in the year, there's space to put in more stickers, but I thought, like, you know, for the first few weeks at least, I don't have to do anything. I can just write in it. And then when I get some time and I have the motivation and it seems fun, I can like kind of decorate the rest of the year in a couple of batches so that it will always be very functional. Then I've set up a few pages of the notes. And this is again going to be bullet journal style. So it's going to be, I mean, when I say bullet journal style, I mean just like, I guess, one day to the next. So just for different lists and things that I want to have as kind of more long-term spreads. So TV shows to watch, dog vaccinations when they have to happen, online shops that I want to take note of, which crime boxes we've been using to remember to like check for when they have new ones, and my hobbies, which I just did for fun. Because sometimes I feel like I just work and I don't have any hobbies. So I wanted to remind myself that actually I do have hobbies and they're awesome and they're fine. And I don't need to like stress about, you know, I don't know, not having enough hobbies or being a failure in the hobby category. And then I just put in some more of these full page stickers from Sweet Kawaii Design, which I love. And I made the calculated gamble that it's going to be okay losing out on these few pages in the note spreads, because if I'm just using this for lists and kind of reference things, I don't think that I actually need all 71 pages. I mean, if I have like 69 pages or 68 pages, I think that will be okay. And then the My 100 is back, which I'm really happy about, because the My 100 was taken out in, I think it was 2019. There was no My 100 and I was really sad about that. But then it came back again for 2020. And I was using it just to track TV shows, and I didn't get very far. So this year I decided that I'm going to use it as a wish list, because I can basically just access this easily, and I probably will have quite a few things to put on my wish list during the year. I don't use this for planner related wish list items because I have my planner for that, but yeah, at the moment I kind of covet a latte machine, because I used to go to Starbucks a lot with the dogs, and then since the first lockdown I just stopped going, and so James has been making coffee, and I was thinking if we had a latte machine, then we'd just be like having a Starbucks in our very own home. So I'm kind of contemplating that at the moment. And then this is what it looks like at the back. I just put lots of, yeah, it's kind of an animal theme, and another one of these full page stickers. And then some true messages that relate to my life: quarantine and chill, coffee, and send nudes, which is something that I request from James on a daily basis. And then I just keep some of these Sweet Kawaii Design stickers in here, and a piece of blotting paper. And this is not Sweet Kawaii Design, but I don't remember where it came from, these YouTube stickers. And then I have this Kaweco student fountain pen in black. So I decided again for this to kind of offset the stickers that I'm just going to write in black pen. And that means I never have to decide like which color to put in the pen when I replace it. It's just black. So I'm super, super happy with this. I absolutely love this cover. I really like the Salty Katie Jelly cover because it keeps it closed. It's one with the elastic, so you know it kind of keeps it manageable even though it's pretty fat and chunky. And then I also added these charms onto it, one for the weekly and one for the monthly. So I have these two bookmarks. So that is a complete tour of my 6 years of Hobonichi Weeks. I hope you enjoyed this and that it wasn't too long. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye!